Welcome to the yoga video for stress release and self-care. I've put together some poses today for you to just help with some conscious movement using yoga to help with your stress release and stress reduction. These poses have been chosen specifically with a chair because I want you to know that you can do these anywhere. You can do them at the nurse's station, you can do them in a break room. You can actually even do them in your ambulance, not while you're driving, of course, but if you're in the passenger seat or if you're after a call or something like that, you can do some of these stretches if you need to. So the yoga is an ancient practice, as you've probably heard of it, and it's really about union. The word yoga means yoking, which is yoking the mind, body, and the breath. So doing these together helps to cultivate more presence and awareness, but it also helps to relieve muscle tension. It's going to increase your circulation. It's very calming because we're connecting the breath with the body. So we want to focus the breath with the body so that the mind isn't so busy. And so that's one of the beauties of connecting the breath with the movement, is it gives our mind something to do besides worry or think. And so it's just going to be focusing on the poses and the breath within the pose. So I want to just say this: if you've never done yoga before, it's totally fine. Welcome to this class, because I think it's going to be really helpful for you. This is not about doing a perfect pose. It's not about that at all. It's really about just becoming more present in your body and feeling your body and being in there with your breath in a little deeper way. So don't worry if you've never done this. Just join in and we'll make it easy for you to do. So you can see we have a chair here, and you can choose any chair. I have one without arms. If you had to, you could use one with arms. You could use a couch if you needed to, but a chair is nice because it's a little bit more firm. Now I'm sitting on the edge of the chair versus sitting back, because if I'll turn the chair sideways for a second. If I sit back, I kind of round, which is not really what we want. So we want us to be up a little bit, so see how much straighter my spine is. So that's what we're going to do as the basic premise for most of the poses. Now you can do these poses once you know them individually, or you can come back and watch this video and do them all together as more of a practice. Totally up to you. But I've designed these so you can just learn them in the video and then do them when you're at work during your day. So the first thing we're going to start with is very basic. We're just going to start to shrug our shoulders and do some shoulder rolls. So we're just going to lift the shoulders up to the ears and drop them. Let them be heavy. Inhaling the shoulders up, exhale and drop. Let it be heavy. Just going to do that about 4 times. Just some basic movements, starting to warm things up. And now we're just going to start to roll the shoulders back, both of them together. And let this be at your own pace. What feels good. Do that about 4 times. And now we're going to roll forward as we begin to just open up the body here. There we go. Hands back on the knees. So now we're just going to stretch the neck. We're going to take our right hand and we're going to place it over our head. And we're just going to gently let gravity open up that neck on the left side. So we're not pulling, we're just resting. And the gravity of the elbow is helping to release the head. Now if you have neck issues, you've had any surgery, you need to be very careful here and follow any guidance you've been given by your healthcare provider as to whether this is appropriate for you. It actually feels really good. We're going to let the shoulder soften and release. So we don't want the shoulder up here, we want it down. So we create space between the ear and the shoulder. And we're breathing in our belly. Don't forget the belly breath. And on our exhale, we're going to lift back up to neutral. Take our left hand, come over our ear, and let the head drop. Opening on this side, letting the shoulder fall. No pressure here. I'm not pushing, I'm just resting. You might notice a difference between each side, so just be aware that our body holds the tension differently. So you might notice one side you feel more stretched than the other. And release it, coming back to neutral. Now we're gonna begin to bring in a little bit more movement in this upper body. So we're gonna take our arms and we're gonna lift them up to the sky on our inhale, stretch up. Now be mindful here, often when we stretch our arms up, we wanna lift the shoulders, but we want to drop the shoulders down and lift and elongate the hands up. And we're rooted in the chair, so let your seat be heavy in the chair. And the arms are stretching as we just open the side body. And we're gonna exhale down. We're just gonna move with our breath a few times as we inhale all the way up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhaling down. And do that 2 more times. And exhaling down 1 last time. Inhaling up. And bringing the arms back to neutral on our lap. So now we're going to do one of my favorite poses, and I'm going to turn the chair again just to show you what I'm doing so you get the feel of how to move here. So we're going to do what we call cat-cows, and we're going to do it seated. You can also do this on your hands and knees, but for today we're doing it in the chair. So our hands are on our legs, and we're just going to, on our inhale, we're going to begin to bring the belly full, open the chest, and kind of extend forward. I'm facing you, so I'm going to turn and show you. So I'm not bending too far, I'm just opening up. And then on the exhale, I'm going to tuck the tail, round the mid-back, and bring the chin towards my chest. Let the arms be long here. Inhaling, lifting, opening the heart, filling the belly. The belly's big and full. The sit bones underneath here are tilting up, and now I'm going to start to tilt them under as I round and curl. And let's do that 2 more times. With your breath, exhaling into the curl, inhaling, coming forward, exhaling, rounding back. On your next inhale, we're going to come forward, and now we're going to add what we call Sufi circles. So these are just, we're going to turn in circles now with our cat and our cow. So we're forward, and now we're just going to round over, feeling the weight on that right seat as it comes back, and inhaling, come up the other side as we open. And we can make this movement as big, so you can make it really big like I'm doing, or you can also just do very small circles here. Listen to your body. We're letting the shoulders get a little involved here, the hips. So we're inhaling, coming forward, and we're exhaling, coming back. And do 1 more this way. And we always have to even out on both sides in yoga. So now we're going to go back the other way. And another. We're breathing in the belly. We're listening to our body, making these circles feel good. 1 last one. And you can go fast or you can go slow here. Slow is my favorite. And now we're going to come back to neutral. We're going to go ahead and do a forward fold. So when we're in a chair doing a forward fold, we're going to step our feet wider than our hips. So kind of probably about the edge of your chair legs. And we're going to allow ourselves to just start to lean forward. We're going to keep our back flat first. So we're just leaning and lifting forward. And now when we've gotten about as far as we can hinge comfortably, we're just going to be able to curl forward and let the head drop. The top of our head comes towards the floor. Arms can now go down and dangle. You can just let them hang, or you can hold your elbows if that feels better. You can touch the floor if that works. You can keep your arms on your body, on your legs. I'm going to sit back up, but you stay in your forward fold for a moment. And just realize that you come down as far as comfortable. If you have low back issues, you want to be just very tender here. And if you feel like coming all the way down is too much, rest your elbows right here on the top of your legs and just allow your upper body to then begin to drape. The goal here is to try to release the spine and let it just hang and let the vertebrae stretch. Taking a few more breaths here. And on your next exhale, we're going to begin to rise up, and we're just going to roll up really slowly, as if we're just bringing each vertebrae up by themselves until we get to the shoulders. Then we're just going to gently lift the head back to a neutral position. We're going to fold one more time. So we're going to, again, lean forward a little and then begin to round down. Pausing at any level that feels right for your body. Don't be in pain in any of these poses. A little stretch is good, but no sharp pain. As we allow the head to dangle, the arms to fold in or to touch the ground. Make sure you're breathing. And then we're going to start to rise back up on the inhale, back to neutral. With any of these poses, you do definitely want to make sure that you don't go into any pain. And it's just to a point of a nice stretch. And maybe a little work. You might have to work a little bit, feel some action here, but we don't want pain. So next we're going to stay in our seated position for another couple poses here as we do a side stretch. So we're going to inhale our right arm up overhead. And we're just going to start to lean over. I like to hold onto the chair with my hand that's not up, bend the elbow, and let myself curve over like I'm making a C. You know, when you do the YMCA song and you make a C, we're kind of doing that in the chair. We're really feeling a stretch in this side body from our hip all the way up to our armpit. And don't forget your breath. Make sure you're inhaling into the belly. And on your next exhale, rise up and hand back down to the side of your chair. We're going to lift the left hand up now on the inhale. And exhaling, we're going to lean over. And you can bend this elbow as much as is needed. Stretching, opening. Try not to come forward in your stretch. If you can, try to come just straight out of the side. And it may just be this far. So just feel into your body. You're going to feel a nice stretch all the way up this side body. On your next inhale, come up to center. And let's do one more on each side. So we're going to inhale that right arm up, come back into side stretch on the right side. Breathing. Don't forget the breath. Inhale up to straight, right arm comes to the side of the chair, left arm rises as we lean into and stretch open the left side body. As you can see, you could easily do this sitting at the nursing station, sitting in the break room. You might not be able to do that in the ambulance. You might. You could just lean a little bit. You might not want to have your arm up. Okay, the next one we're going to do is add a little twist. Twisting is so good for our body. It kind of wrings out the internal tissues. It allows some compression so that when we release the twist, there's an influx of fluids into the tissues, which is really beneficial and it's detoxifying for us. So we're going to inhale our arms up overhead. Nice big breath here. We're going to drop the right hand to the left knee. And we're going to take our left hand over to touch the back of the chair, up, down low, or up high, whatever feels accessible for you. Now, the key here is to try not to take the hips with us, right? See if you can keep your knees even and square. Lift the crown and the spine as you inhale, and then on your exhale, begin to twist the upper body. Now, it's not a twist just with our head. People often do that. Keep your head with your chest and just see if you can open your chest up. You can move into that twist a little more. Breathing in your belly, don't forget to breathe. And on your next inhale, coming back to center, taking a pause. We're going to now inhale, arms back up again, big belly breath. Feel your feet in the mat, in the earth, and the mat, on the floor. Now we're going to take the left hand to right knee. Right arm comes behind on the back, top of the seat, holding onto the seat, whatever feels good. Once again, we're going to remember we're not just twisting with our head. We're going to take our whole chest and face the side of the chair. And if our neck is okay with it, then we can begin to look over our shoulder. Always taking care for the neck. And if you have spinal issues, just do this to the level that your medical provider has given you instructions. You can make the twist much shorter, just twisting like this, if that is the range of motion that is allowed right now. So twisting is very helpful, very healing for us. The next thing we're going to do is what we call seated pigeon. So we're going to stay in this seat. We're going to take our right foot and we're going to bring it up on top of our leg. And we're in kind of, if you look down, it looks like, kind of like a number 4. And we're just going to get a little hip stretch here. We want to make sure that our foot is flexed to protect the knee. You can place your right hand gently on the top of your thigh, not on your knee, but on your thigh, and just press down gently. It's going to help you open that hip. If this is too much, too high, too much, you can bring the foot to whatever level feels good to start to open that outer hip up. So we're just gently here. We're rooted into the seat with our sit bones. We're just opening up this hip. Hips are tight, so you might feel some tension here. Just bring some breath in there. Breathing, staying in with your breath in your belly, especially if it's hard. This is challenging. Really stay with your breath. Now, no pain here, but just deep stretch. This easily you can do at the nurse's desk, break room, in a car. And you can be pretty non-discreet with this one, right? People just think you have your leg crossed. And on our next inhale, we're going to take that foot off and step it down to the mat. Coming back to just noticing the difference in our sides. I can definitely feel that my right side is more open after stretching it. On your next inhale, we're going to bring the left foot up on top of the right. And we're not on top of our knee, so you see I'm back just a little bit further. Flexing this foot, so we don't want the foot pointed. We want it active, so this leg is working. The muscles are engaged here. I'm lifting tall in my spine. Shoulders are down and back. And I'm taking my hand and just placing a little bit of pressure on this thigh to release that hip a little bit more. Don't forget to breathe. Yes, breathing, feeling that release. If it's tight, bring your breath into that hip. And on your next inhale, place your foot down on the mat. So the next pose we're going to do is chair pose. We're using a chair, right? So we're actually going to come off of the chair. So I'm going to turn the chair around again to show you so you can see what I'm doing. So in chair pose, we're really using the lower, the strength of the core and the lower muscles. So using the chair is a great way to build up the strength for this pose. So we're first just going to stand, and we're going to kind of put our weight evenly on our feet and with our feet kind of under our hips directly. And we're just standing tall, and we're going to begin to move our hips back as if we're going to sit down on this chair. Now I'm not going to go all the way down, and you just go to the point that feels good. This may be far enough, which is great. I'm feeling my legs and everything's active here. And you come down, and then we're going to add the arms by just first placing them in front of us. So we're just like this for a moment. See how that feels. And this may be the best motion for your shoulders. If you have any shoulder issues, you want to stay with your arms straight out. Next, we're hinged forward. We can begin to lift the upper body a little and let the arms come up closer to along the ears. And sit down a little further if that feels good. Now you'll notice I'm keeping a little curve in the back here. I'm not tucking like this. I'm keeping just a little curve. I'm not exaggerating it, but I'm keeping a curve here. And allows me to have that stability in the spine by keeping the natural curve. Now, when you're in this pose, I'm going to turn and face you. We are really activating these lower legs. So these inner thighs are as if I'm squeezing them together, even though I'm not moving them physically. Just squeezing them. I'm activating my glute muscles, my core muscles, and my heart is open. And we're breathing. And go ahead and rise up. That was a long hold as I'm talking. Any of these, when I'm giving instruction, always know you can release out and come back into the pose. Let's sit down in that chair one more time. We're going to first start with our arms at our side, and we're just going to sit back as if we're going to sit in this chair, and then we're going to bring the arms out straight. And then if that feels good on our shoulders, we're going to bring those shoulders to the back body, and then lift up. And breathe into the belly. And arms down, lifting straight up. And you can do that several times, and you can just do it for a shorter time. When you're getting ready to get out of your chair, you could just pause for a moment. You don't have to make it a big thing and then walk into your day. So those are going to be ways that you're building those muscles, you're using those big muscles and helping to release any tension in those body parts. So chair is a great one that you can do, obviously not when you're driving or in the ambulance van, but you can do at the nurse's desk or in a break room. The last one that I want to do before our relaxation pose is called down dog. Now normally down dog we're on the mat, but I'm going to show you how to do it with a chair. You can also do it with a counter. So I know some nurses stations have like a higher counter or whatever, you can use it there, or even a table. And so we come into behind the chair and we're going to place our hands on the back of the chair, and then we're just going to start to walk our body out to where we come to where we're at a kind of an L shape. The feet are hip distance apart and the toes are facing forward. Now what's important here is with the shoulders, we don't want the shoulders rounding. We want the blades of our shoulders to come together. So we want the blades to come together versus rounding out. So the arms are in the shoulder socket really strong. So see, you can see the difference here, like out and then back. See that difference? I'm rounding out and then I'm bringing everything in. So we're going to step back. Our sit bones here are lifting up. Now the knees can stay bent. It is not important whether your knees are straight or not. If they go straight, great, but it's better to have the other parts of the pose in alignment. So we're bringing those blades together on the back. Sit bones are lifting. Belly's engaged. I'm not dumping out here. I'm engaged. My legs are working. My belly is working. My head is neutral, so I'm looking down. Right between my arms, my head is right between my arms. And I'm just getting a nice upper body stretch here and a little bit of stretch in my hamstrings. And I'm continually moving those shoulder blades towards, as if I had pockets in my pants and I was going to slide them into a back pocket. And make sure you're breathing. And to come out of it, we're just going to start to lift up, push on the back of the chair, step 1 foot forward, come back up to the chair. So now let's do it without as much instruction. So we're going to step back, come into that L, shoulders down into those pockets in the back of our pants, sit bones lift, and we're engaged in all of our muscles and we're breathing. Head is neutral, feeling this entire stretch. It's also very heart opening. We're letting the heart sort of sink towards the ground, coming through those upper arms. And now we're going to inhale as we come up. And step our foot forward, come up to the chair. So those are several poses that you can do anywhere at work and get some release of the tension in your muscles, to stress reduce, just to have some focus time in your body. We're going to do the final pose that I want you to be able to experience. It's called Savasana. If we're on a mat, we would be laying on our back, but in the chair, we are just going to kind of slide forward on the edge of our chair again. But this time we are going to use the back, and we're just going to lean back. So every chair is different, so how far you're able to lean back is going to vary. Now in this is with the chair, we just want to be careful that we're being comfortable with our neck. So we don't want our neck to do this. So I'm just kind of holding my neck up gently. And I'm just letting my hands, here I don't have anywhere to put them on the side, so I'm just going to let them sort of lay on my legs. And just allowing everything in the body to melt in this pose. This is the beauty of Savasana. It lets the muscles and the tissues integrate all the work you just did in yoga. So we close our eyes and we just allow ourselves to release and relax into the chair. If leaning back like this doesn't feel good, sit with your rear all the way to the back of the chair and just be completely supported by the back of the chair as you release in. And just allow yourself, feet are on the floor, breath is soft. Just allow yourself to settle, and I'm just going to be silent for a short time as you just release into Savasana. Beginning to bring a little movement into the body, small movements with the fingers and the toes. Rotating the ankles and the wrists. Starting to let your eyes softly open. Or you can keep them closed for a little longer if you like. Allowing the hands as you're sitting in the chair, and if you're leaned out, go ahead and sit back. Coming kind of to the edge of the chair where your spine is strong, body is soft. So we just close out this class with just a moment of breath. Inhaling the arms up overhead, palms together and lower them down towards your chest. Coming into Anjane Mudra or prayer pose. Allowing this internal focus. In yoga, we always close our classes with Namaste. And Namaste just means the light in me sees and honors the light in you. Namaste.